Don Thornton here, and we're going to talk today about systems and why they're so important if you're a real estate investor. Actually, systems are important in no matter what you do, but it's especially important if you're a typical real estate investor who is just starting out and can't rely on anybody else and basically has to wear every single hat there is. And honestly, full disclosure, I mean, I still wear a bunch of hats. I mean, I still do my own accounting. I still do my own bookkeeping. I obviously I do delegate some stuff now, but I'm still, ready and willing and able to jump in and do all my follow the systems I created a long time ago, 18 years or so ago. So I think that it's so important because it's a numbers game, and real estate investing, when you come down to it, is an equation. It's how many phone calls, how many postcards, how many letters, how many text messages, uh, how many go out, and how many people respond, and then how you close them, or how you work to the point where you get people closed, where you can bring houses into your pipeline. Ultimately, it's a mathematical equation. Some people are better at certain ways than others. I know that when I prepare or get a foreclosure list prepared, I feel like that I've got an excellent shot of getting anywhere between one to three, sometimes five per list. Doesn't always happen, but I feel like I have a shot at that. But that means that I'm going to get an awful lot of no's, and that also means that, well, I'm going to get my share of no's, but what I'm going to get more of is I'm going to get people who don't respond at all. And so I had to have systems in place to make sure that we keep following up with them until we get the no. Because in our system, we don't stop until someone says no. And that's one of the reasons why we've consistently gotten such a good number of houses every month. And we usually have, close to 100 houses in pipeline at any given time, because we're consistent with following our systems. And I would say that every single facet of our short sale business is governed by a system. Okay. So my daughter, helps out with systems. I mean, excuse me, with lists. And then we have a system to look for phone numbers. We have a system in place, to what times we make the calls, and then we have the follow up system in place. And then when someone says yes, we have a system in place, that I always follow to get the document signed, to inspect the property, take photos, and so forth. And then we have a system in place to give an orientation to the homeowner about what they can expect in a short sale. And then we have a system in place to give them follow up, every week, to keep them in the loop so they don't feel like they're being abandoned. And then we have, obviously, then on my negotiation side, we have systems in place with my negotiation team about how they run that aspect of it. So the nice thing about it is that systems give you security, and it prevents leakage. Okay. And I'll just give you a little bit of a example here of why systems work. And when people deviate from the system, then it tends to be a little bit disadvantageous. I am fanatical about wanting to meet uh, if, all the homeowners that I can, if they're not out of state or if it's just not possible. But I do try to meet with the homeowners when they're ready to sign the initial documents, because in a short sale, all we need to have are a listing agreement from my realtor, and an authorization that allows her negotiation team to speak with the mortgage company. That's You don't take contracts in initially in a short sale. So those two documents are all that's necessary. So I believe that is so important, because this is going to be a semi long term relationship, in the sense that, especially with the pandemic, I mean, before the pandemic hit, we were getting stuff from start to finish done in 2 or 3 months. Now it's dragging. So the longer it drags, then the homeowners get more antsy, and so um, we hardly ever lose deals because the bank says no. I would say probably if we just looked at our percentage with the banks, we're probably close to 100% on getting those to work. We, the leakage comes when a homeowner changes his or her mind. And what typically happens is they say, well, I think I just want to do a deed in lieu of foreclosure. I don't care about my credit. I don't care that it's going to just nuke my credit for the next 7 years. Or they'll try to file a bankruptcy if they haven't done it before. There's different options they can do, and they're all bad. But people make poor decisions. So, but I've found that they're more apt to do that when they feel like that they're not being touched enough or contacted enough in the process. And so, you know, I have had people that work with me who did not want to spend the time and energy and gas money, let's say, to go out and get to meet with people individually. And I've always noticed that there's a significant the homeowners who are met personally and who are communicated with when you start the relationship, the leakage is much less than the ones that do DocuSign, for example. Okay, and that's the reason why right now I don't allow DocuSign anymore. And I've had people say, "Oh, you don't do DocuSign?" It's like, no, I don't, because this is a relationship, like I said, and I feel better when I've looked face to face in someone's eyes, and they've looked in mine, and we talk, and there's a connection made. It's not a very long connection, but it's there. Okay. DocuSign, you make a phone call, they say, okay, let's do it. You send the stuff off, they send it back. And even though it's legal, it's 100% legal. I'm not saying it's not legal, but you know what? There's a big difference when someone meets you and signs the documents and you got a wet signature. Okay. So that's why I implement that system. And I know that taking a little bit more time to meet with them is going to, uh, I would say, increase our odds of, I want that to be as high as 100% as we can. And so that I implement that system. And so same thing with the list. I know that the next morning we're going to get the list the previous day. And so we're going to be one of the first people contacting the people in foreclosure. That's important. So, and then, the divorce lists are given, and the postcards go out. And our probate stuff, we go through, and there's a certain number of probate letters that are going to go out every day. So systems are so important to be successful. But again, it's like, it's almost like the chicken or the egg argument. What came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, houses or systems or whatever? Uh, I'm just telling you that nowadays, with as much competition as there is, it's even more important to have systems in place, and that you're consistent with your adherence to those systems. So the system is important, but you have to be consistent in implementing the system. Okay, it's like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I'm just being honest with you. Consistency and having the I don't want to say constraints, but having the security of having a system to keep you on track is so important to being successful in any kind of business, but especially in this kind of business, which is cutthroat. There's a lot of competition. Everybody and your dog wants to become a real estate investor. So, you know, um, if you want to work with us, we'll introduce you to our systems. And if you want to be successful and stay working with us, then you'll work our systems, because the system will always trump, a person. If the person can't follow the system, no matter how good he or she is, they're not going to stay very long. So that's my take on systems and why they're so important. And I hope you got value out of it. Thank you. Thank you very much.